studies and how flawed these studies can be. So, how flawed can a study be? I guess it can be as flawed as they want it to be, based on the simple fact that there's nothing really that keeps people from publishing whatever they want. Basically, look at it along the lines of Wikipedia. Now, why are we not allowed to use this in our schoolwork is because anybody can post anything there, and it doesn't necessarily have to be based on anything. You could just have a fancy name, and all of a sudden everybody believes it. There are more than one thing online about, was 9/11 real or not? Well, there's a lot of very learned people, unfortunately, who will tell you, no, it wasn't a real terrorist, it was done by the government, and that we knew what it was going to happen the whole time, and everybody was just blind to what was going on. Were we blind to what was really going on in society? Yes, we were, but do we want to believe whether the federal government really knew about it? Well, that's not for me to say. But anybody can post anything, and it becomes a conspiracy theory. We will look at things like, just like mentioned in Bad Science, the fact that they say a glass of wine a day cuts down on breast cancer. Well, let's look at it in a different light. A glass of wine a day is supposed to be now considered okay for a pregnant woman to drink. Through the years, this has consistently changed. But if we go back as far as biblical times, in biblical times, no, a pregnant woman should not drink. As time went on and it became a thing, it was okay. What damage is it really causing? Do we have any proof? Then we figured out fetal alcohol syndrome. So now, no, it's not okay to drink while you're pregnant. So we went through 20, 30 years of don't drink while you're pregnant, even the smallest drip, whatever it happens, is going to cause low birth weight, premature birth, things like mental retardation and facial deformities and slow development. But time has moved on, and now we think, oh, well, but it's just wine. It's okay to have a glass of wine a day when you're pregnant. What all of a sudden changed? Alcohol is alcohol. Well, what changed is somebody did a study, and like the gentleman in the video said, had a couple letters after their name, PhD, MD, DO, whatever it is, and published this study of 100 or so women. Not really 100% sure how many women they did, but out of those women, how many of them did actually drank, and how many of them had a placebo? And is this something that we're okay with, like giving women alcohol to see if it will work? Well, what happens, we find out, is it was a study that was done in animals. Well, can you really detect the mental retardation in a mouse or in a ape? Have you ever heard of an ape with mental retardation? So the only thing they were really able to find out is, did they have any kind of actual deformities? Was there low birth weight? Was there things like um, premature birth? Were there more babies that were the mothers turned their back on for whatever reason? Are there one ape less apt to learn than the other ape? Well, because we really can't tell, because they're animals, whether it was due to the alcohol or due to just natural selection, they automatically say, oh, well, only so many percent of them actually were born with any kind of defects, and this is only of the few that we actually gave the alcohol to. So they took a very small percentage in the first place, broke that in half to an even smaller percentage or number, and then took of those which ones had any issues and just said, okay, well, obviously it's not as bad as we thought. So maybe if you only have a little bit, or like who had the most? You only started with a small amount to start out with. Along with the fact that, let's look at the simple fact that pregnancy is a lot more avid now than it was 60s, 70s, 80s. There's girls are getting pregnant younger. Women are getting pregnant later in their years. And of course, alcohol companies and the companies who bottle alcohol and sell alcohol, they all want to make money. So do they have their hands in this? We really do not know. Are there any really double blind studies? No. We do know that for 30 years there was a direct correlation between drinking and these children who were born with all these issues. And as soon as we started telling women to not drink during pregnancy, the rate fell dramatically. Now, for me, that's enough. But a scientific mind is going to want numbers. Unfortunately, because of that, there's no who's going to really get pregnant and deliberately drink so that they can see whether their baby is born with a defect or not. No woman who really cares about her child is going to do that. So we really don't have anything to base it on other than these animals. And let's look at all the things. It's just not a logical study to base a logical conclusion that it is now all of a sudden okay for a woman to have a glass of wine. What would be better? What would be better is to just not drink while you're pregnant. Avoid the issue. In the slightest chance that it may actually be a problem, just don't do it. But of course, your adult beverage companies don't want to do that. But that's how I kind of looked at this, what this gentleman was saying in this bad science is it's a flawed system that we use to find out whether there's a problem at all.